super move, come on. Why did it make it a bit tricky? Come on. There we go. See, this will work. Alright, yeah. Oh, hey folks, I'm that gamer. Just then I was just playing a bit of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan. Well, looks like now we'll be able to do the review at last. I know I was going to try and get it done soon, but I'm sorry about the wait. But for your patience and for your dedication for keep watching out, here's my review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan. Please enjoy.
The true artist, so let's get it, yeah, let's see what we can uncover. One that defies your world, gives you truth and life. One that excels, special enough to guide your way through this shadow world.
With Nickelodeon's help, and along with Platinum Star Games, we get a unique take on the Ninja Turtle series. And by unique, I mean more where the actual story is done a bit unusual. So for example, the opening scene is pretty much showing the establishment of Krang as well as Shredder trying to take over the whole of Manhattan, trying to, I think, going from how the story was doing it, trying to get actual Dimension X, or at least opening a portal to try and destroy the city that way. It is one that is not really covered much other than that Shredder and Krang want to take over Manhattan, Turtles find it out, Turtles goes to the area, Turtles finally save the day. But it is between the lines of knowing what the story is to how it is actually portrayed throughout the different chapters of the game. I mean, don't get me wrong, the chapters are done quite well. I mean, except for the one level, which I will get to it in just a bit, but it is one that for a game done by Platinum, it really does show. I mean, if you can actually look at all the different gameplay trailers there's been, as well as the trailers themselves, the style and artistic side of it is done really well. I mean, the only downside I can really say from it being a Platinum is the fact that there is no guard. I mean, there is kind of a guard, but there's not an actual guard I would say is genuine. I mean, you have your quick time where if you time it right you can jump on the enemy to do extra damage, or if you time it well you can pretty much stop them from attacking, just stunning the enemy. So it varies from time to time with it. But anyway, enough rambling, let's start straight from the beginning, which will be try and cover more about the actual story, and then we'll move on from there. So as we know with the story, that is Shredder taking over, but there is a nitpick I need to do with the actual story itself in two major areas. So the first one is when it comes to the whole General Krang stage. Now, beforehand, it turns out that they have to go to different areas to find out what's happening. So you have your Bebop, who's seen from the back, you have your Rocksteady causing mayhem, But then it ends up leading to the turtles come to the conclusion that the actual main place that they should have searched was TCRI, which, if you go off from the cutscene which I'm about to show you, you would have thought they would have at least put 2 and 2 together to get the answer that way. I mean, it's just pretty much obvious when it's staring them right in the face in the game.
You gotta be kidding me! You mean to tell me we've been running all over the stinking city, putting out these little fires, while the real action's been in the most obvious place the whole time?
I know it's hard to believe, Raph, but all the evidence points to it.
Think
Which
about
doesn't
it, Raph.
make
Slashes,
any
space
sense.
guns,
I mean,
Wingnuts,
you would have thought
UFOs,
that if you've
and
got
the particle
Donatello,
diffusion matrix
as
Armor
well
Gun was
as
trying to
people
smuggle through the
looking into
sewers.
things like that, they
The
would have found
partition diffuser,
something
what's it?
like it to show it.
Fusion matrix.
But I think the
I did
best
some
is
research
yet
after
to be
Donnie sent me
revealed
the
with the
picture and
story,
finally
which
figured
is
out
a
what it was.
major plot hole yet again. Because in a moment, I'll even show it you, because it is one of them ones I think it's more better to see it than for me to describe it, because of how pretty much just the amazing non-explanation Deus Ex Machina make-believe thing they've done, just so that way they can explain how they can get into something like TCRI, which they even establish is hard to get into. Which, again, I have no idea how they actually do that.
We've never been able to get inside TCRI before. What makes tonight any different?
It's gonna have to be different. If they're really creating an interdimensional portal, there's no telling what kind of terror they could unleash on the city. So we don't let them. We'll find a way to get inside TCRI, one way or another.
Of course not, that'd be stupid. No, we get it skipped to the next part.
Okay, guys, Krang's on the top level. We need to move quickly, quietly, and carefully.
Sheesh, Leo, you're starting to sound like
Yeah,
Mr.
right.
Splinter now.
Sheesh, Leo, indeed. I mean, you just pretty much just went from one scene to say you cannot get into a building, yet on the next scene, magically get in by overwhelming the guards. I mean,
Leo's right. This place
yeah,
is
there
bound
is a
to be wired
context
to the
where they
max with
could have done it, or,
surveillance and security
you know, it
devices.
is heavily guarded that it would take quite a bit, but they were implying just through those scenes alone that they could not get into it. But, I digress. I mean, yeah, from that, story-wise, it's not really that good. But with any other game like this, it's always more down to the actual gameplay, if anything. So, really, it divides up in its different sections. So, the main one would be pretty much like your stealth side, which isn't really stealth, because I mean, there will be times when you want to try and sneak past an actual enemy, and one of your AI partners or characters will pretty much end up ruining it for you, therefore you can't sneak behind them, or if you try and even get near them, your actual AI character will not even be there to teleport to where you are and then cause an alert. So it's more better to do it online. So it's quite a mix when you are using the actual turtles, because of like the different sets that they have. So you've got your Raphael, who pretty much has like his size, but it's quite an average for using, so he's more, well, kind of mid-range for how his attacks are. Donatello being more like your healer, so he'll be more focusing on trying to heal the group. Leonardo being more the person who would pretty much take in charge of attacks, but also trying to make sure to help the team as well, so he has a balance of both healing and attack. But Michelangelo for me is personally my favourite, since of not only for how he is in the game, but just how he comes across in general. I mean, the one thing with his actual attacks is that he has a special move which all the turtles do have. So for Michelangelo, it is a cheerleader, which can help restore the turtles' special attacks up, which is at least good. So when it breaks down to it further, which will be a case where it's more the actual bosses, which I don't need to get to that one a bit later, but they do come in handy. So throughout the game, you will unlock ninjutsu, which will be your different attacks, so they can be both healing, both attacking, or support. So depending on which playstyle you want to go for the turtles, can depend on what type of attacks or type ninjutsu you want to equip. But for the enemies that you do face, there are some that are a bit challenging, but I wouldn't say they were too challenging. So it's going to be a case where, as long as you know which pattern to follow, so for example you have your Krangs, which in their flying saucers can be quite easy to attack, but then you've got to be careful because if you destroy their ship, they'll fall and explode, causing different status effects, which I have to say is quite good. At least it means that not every single Krang ship will be the same. You've just got to be careful when facing them. The only ones I would say are tricky are more your bigger type enemies, because again you're going to have to be careful when facing them for how you're going to deal with them. But as a whole, the fighting system, it kind of works if you are doing it single player, since the whole map to your controller is done through your more action oriented if anything, since the more you can swap your characters often, the more combos you can create, the more chains that you can come up with as well. Now the only downside with it is now when it comes to the bosses, since I think the only worst one I can say I actually faced was the final boss, but that itself was a bit of a cheap trick. So with it, in the aspects of fighting bosses, yeah, quite good. I mean, the first three being Bebop, Rocksteady, and I think Cry or Slash, so it's going to be one or the other, but they are ones that are quite easy to get used to seeing what the actual bosses will be like, anticipating what they're going to do, finding a way to counter it, and then just making sure to just heal each other. So it is quite good. It's one of them ones that at least you can learn, but it's at the same time there will be probably two that I would say were frustrating, which was pretty much Wingnut, because of the fact that it has to be the only one that's in the sky. Granted, there are areas that help you get up to his level, but he is one that I would say is quite tricky. And the other one being Shredder, but again, I would have to explain more into detail about that. So overall, as a game, I would say it's a mix. So what else can I say? I mean, the only other option being is that if you want to do games together with people, you are going to be limited with it, since with this game, it's multiplayer only. That's right. No actual single player offline, be able to do it with your buddy next to you. You have to do it online, since for some reason the people thought, yes, let's move out the one thing that many people were wanting in the past, which if Turtles in Time can actually show people playing together in a room, you can have fun with. But when you're removing that aspect to play with someone who you have not played with, or you've not seen, on the other side of the world or anything, it can be a bit tricky trying to coordinate attacks. I mean, especially for some of the trophies in this game, since some of them will be more team-based coordination, as well as trying to do certain actions at certain times. But it kind of works. It kind of does and it doesn't, but it does mix on that. But anyway, the final part when it comes to it is more the actual collectible side, I'd say, as well, because you have both your comics pages, which is quite good if you wanted to learn more about like the different art styles, as well as like what the old comic books of the Ninja Turtles were like, since some of them are worth collecting. I mean, there are ones that they don't say when they were released or like any other information on it. It just shows the cover, which is a bit disappointing, but it would be good if they could expand on it if they were to do a potential sequel, since I can see it actually happening. But no, I digress. I know I'm sidetracking from what I was originally saying, but I'll get to the whole bit, which is the reason I'm off putting it is because, well, with the final boss, it was pretty much my first time against the actual final boss, which is going to be opposite Shredder. I'm just going to throw out there, it's no surprise, it's Shredder. But I did really hate it, since throughout this stage, from Krang's level onward, you can find special secret rooms containing different items, enemies, so you can get boost items, which is quite good. At least it means that way, if you are in actual health or items ready for a boss, you are prepared. But for this one, it had a Krang droid, which if you end up playing in the actual Mega Krang stage, can show that they are quite powerful. But unfortunately, it is very powerful against Shredder, since all you need to do is spam your actual gun, lasers and missiles, and you will win. How that actually happened in a game where you're mostly going to be focusing on working together than to use an actual Krang droid to beat Shredder is beyond me. But after playing it for at least 3 times, I did not come across the actual portal, so unless it was a one-off thing, or if it was actual, like I think a glitch or a time. I mean, it wouldn't be a glitch since, you know, I was able to find, but it's frustrating that they could put something like it there for a final boss to sour the last experience of it. But I mean, in a general sense, overall, I mean, it is good. I mean, the only one last thing I will say that does frustrate me more is when it comes to how they do items. So, in the game, you'd have Splinter, who would be like the actual main person who you would actually see in the sewers, since in each stage you get to go into the sewers to actually get to the shop, which, why they had to choose Splinter, I don't know. I mean, it would suit him more for being the actual ninjutsu, you know, dojo area, since at that time it helps, since he is the one who is training the Ninja Turtles after all. But for being a shopkeeper to help with the items, it's just wrong. I mean, the only thing that I would have said that they would have done would at least be able to have April, since more April and Donatello were the actual help in this one, being more your support and reconnaissance. But having April as the shopkeeper would have been a bit more beneficial. But I digress. I mean, as an overall whole, when you look at it, it is a mix. But if I were to say anything about this game, I would have to say only just like one thing regarding, and that would be the actual replayability of the actual game. I mean, since the collectibles are ones that, depending on which stage you go to, you can actually keep finding more interesting things. I mean, even the actual secret bosses is one that is worth trying to do. I mean, they are random for when you can actually activate a secret boss, but when you can, it is worth it, since, yeah, there will be that extra challenge when you are facing the boss, but the payout for just being able to get it is worth it in itself. But when looking at it as a whole, is it one I would recommend to people? Yeah, I'd say it's worth recommendation. I mean, if you wanted to rent it, you know, by all means. But in the end, what can I say more about this game? I mean, it does capture the turtles on the box. I mean, when you see that cover, can you actually really say that that cover sums up the actual game? Yeah and no. I mean, design-wise, a bit. I mean, turtles do look like the turtles, but as a whole, it pretty much really varies on that situation. I mean, boiling it down to its basics, the good points being is that not only can you actually, you know, swap the turtles on the fly,
Okay, let's go, everyone.
Not only just for its replayability, but the fact that, you know, you are getting pretty much the show. You are getting one where, you know, whether the show was making sense to begin with or not, it is one that you are getting pretty much the actual movie version of the show. The only one after that is its downsides, which is basically, again, the story, which is both a dual edge. The pretty much annoying of the character bosses, and pretty much just depending on which people he will always play with, getting the right people for it. Still, if I were to give it an overall score, which I will, final score for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan will be 7 out of 10, which is worth a play if you want to actually get around to playing it with a few friends and that, but I'd say rent it first, see what you think to it, and then if you are, you know, wanting to get more about it, then, you know, just buy it. Anyway, that is my review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants Manhattan. Sorry again about how long this video took. I mean, for me personally, it is one that I have had to have a lot of stuff get done, since there's been multiple things trying to balance it out and all that. But still, I'll be coming out with the next review, which will be coming out soon, which depending on how it goes, should be coming out in 2020. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's trying to come up what the next video review would be. I mean, if you want to leave a comment on what I should review next, just please leave it down below and I'll see what I can do. Just do a quick feature for this actual review is I'll do like a feature trophy, which means like if there's any trophies I'd recommend to get, it's ones to look out for pretty much. So the first one is pretty much month's salary or month's food, which is quite good since that trophy sums up the Ninja Turtles themselves, and the obvious one being the hero and the half shell, which if you're gonna get platinum for this one, you're gonna need a lot of good friends to do it. Anyway, I'm that gamer doing gaming reviews for everyone. Peace out.